Lord, send out your Spirit and let us work with you in renewing the face of the earth with peace and love and joy. One day last week, I was working in my own parish. I was doing some work in my office, which is our office area. Our parish center is in the lower church. But then I needed to go upstairs to the main church. To get there, we cut through the chapel, which is open all day long for people to pray. And there were a couple of people praying in the chapel. And I cut through the chapel to go up the back stairs to go into the main church that was locked up and in the dark. And I was headed toward the back of the church, walking down one of the side aisles, when I was startled for a minute because I didn't expect anyone to be there. The upper church is all locked up. And I stopped, a bit startled, and I said, sorry, I didn't know anyone was here. And she, a young woman who was praying the rosary, asked me, is it okay? I said, sure. I said, how did you get in? She said, well, I came in through downstairs, and the young lady, I said, that's great. She was praying. Now, pastors are always looking for new parishioners, so I didn't know her. I asked her, was she new in town? And she said to me, no, Father, I actually live about 45 miles away, a little further southwest, but my parents were married in this church. And I said, that's great. I went over to extend my hand and give her my name. I said, hi, I'm Father Dan O'Connell. And she said, and you married them? I said, I did. I said, how old are you? She said, I'm 22. I said, it's altogether possible that I married them. She said, oh, you did? They tell me that all the time. I said, well, it's nice to meet you. We had a great conversation. I did what I needed to do. She continued to pray. But as I walked away, I couldn't help but think to myself, what a great job her parents, her family, her parish, her church did in handing on the relationship that we have with God through Christ and the Holy Spirit that we call faith. What an opportunity for her to be plunged into a relationship given to her by people that she trusts and love. 22 years old, saying a rosary for her parents in the church that they were married in. There was such a peace and a calm to her whole demeanor. And I knew it was rooted in relationship with God. We call that faith. The readings this day, that first reading is so important for us who try our best to live everyday lives. The author, St. James, hits the nail on the head when he says, in so many words, it's tough to be a human being these days. There's so much tension in our lives. We want to do the right thing, but we don't always do. We want to be nice, but sometimes we can be a little mean. We don't want to be jealous or envious of other people, but sometimes we are. Right away, he speaks of the tension that is part of the human condition. How many times have you wanted to do the right thing, but you didn't quite get there? How many times did you want to be really good about something, but you didn't quite get there? How many times were you, me, all of us, a little bit envious, a little bit jealous because of that tension? James reminds us that there is help always there, and his name is Jesus. When we give ourselves over to him, he reminds us of how much he loves us, that we don't need to worry. See, I think one of the things we need to always be mindful of is this. A lot of these tensions begin in fear in us. We're good people, but we get a little bit afraid that maybe no one will take care of us, and so we go out of our way to make sure that we're taken care of. We get a little jealous, a little envious because we're worried that other people have this and I don't have that. And what James is saying is, don't worry. Don't be afraid. Jesus is with you. He will give you what you need when you need it, whether it be words to share with someone else, confidence that you need for yourself. You know, there's a line in there that's really important. Those who are lovers of the world already have enmity with God. Whenever we hear that notion, the world, what's being referred to in so many ways is original sin, selfishness, worrying about yourself. Don't give over to worrying about yourself. Trust that God hears you because he does. The gospel, the child. Children expect their parents to take care of them, and they do. Little ones expect that mom or dad will be there to give them what they need, to feed them, to help them, protect them. They don't worry that much. My friends, that's you and me. We're meant to remember each and every day that we're children of God. And when we give ourselves over to that fact, we find ourselves living peaceful lives, less confused lives, because we know in our heart of hearts that our God is always there.